Okay, good evening, everybody. Thank you all for joining us. We hope that this, we thought we switched it up this year and decided to do this virtually, just hopefully giving more families a chance to attend this scheduling information session because it is an important step in planning for next year. So tonight we're going to talk about the course selection information, what the process is, what some opportunities there are at the high school, the courses that we offer. But before we get started, I do just want to let you know that we will have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. So to give you all an opportunity to ask the questions that you have. We are going to ask that everybody keep their mics muted until that time. And I will send out after this meeting the course selection sheets, the course description booklet, a recording of the presentation and the presentation slides. So that will follow up probably tomorrow morning. Okay. Want to introduce yourselves? So my name is Nicole Burchell. I am the school counselor for students with last names M through Z. I'm sorry, last names A through L. And Mrs. Klutz is also here with us. Go ahead. Here, you can just sit.
And I am Trisha Klutz. I am a school counselor for students with the last names M through Z, and I follow my students 9th through 12th grade.
Okay. So as we're getting started with the planning process for next year, we wanted to let you know that at this point, we have met with all grade levels students. So that's kind of one of the first things that we do is we meet with all the students, go over the course selection sheets, and answer the questions that they have, review what the requirements are. So at this point, we have met with all 8th graders, 9th, 10th, and 11th graders. The next step will be the teacher recommendation window. For the high school students, that will start tomorrow. So at this time, students and parents can start talking to the teachers to help determine what classes are best for students to go into for next year. As we get into the meat of the presentation, you'll learn that there are some classes that require a teacher recommendation. That's mostly going to be in your Englishes, your math classes, and some higher level science and social studies classes. So it is important that you and your child are speaking with the teachers to make sure you're all on the same page. If the recommendation isn't in there, the student won't be able to select the course. So we're going to review the course offerings and sequences on the grade-specific course selection sheets and the course description booklet, which will be emailed to you after this presentation. We are also available to meet with high school students. So if your student or you have questions and you want to come in for a meeting or have a phone call, please let us know and we can set something up. The 8th grade counselors are also available. So if you are a current 8th grade student, we would ask that you would first go to your 8th grade school counselor. If they don't have an answer for you, they'll reach out to us or put you in contact with us to answer any questions that you have. So for the course selection window is going to open on March 3rd for high school students. The process is a little bit different for the 8th graders. We will be going out to the 8th grade classes again to actually input their course selections with them. So the recommendation window for the teachers, we have a little bit more time to get that started for them because we are probably going to go out in, I would say, the next 2 weeks to meet with the students and actually help them put the courses into the computer. At the high school level, the students are responsible for doing that on their own. We ask that the PODS teachers prompt them to do that in the morning throughout the course selection window. But of course, they are also able to do that with you at home if you wanted to sit by them and make sure that they're selecting the appropriate courses. Students will input their course selections in PowerSchool, so they will have to log into their student account on PowerSchool to do that, to enter their course selections. Some of the scheduling requirements are that the students must schedule for a minimum of 7 credits, and they must select at least 2 alternate electives. And we want you to keep in mind the graduation requirements. So students Students are required to meet these graduation requirements in order to graduate from Jim Thorpe. It's 4 credits of math, English, social studies, and science, 1.5 credits of phys ed, which is 3 semesters of phys ed, 1 credit of health, which is broken down into health 1 and health 2, 1 credit of a computer science, 1 credit of a world language, 3.5 credits of an elective, and then beginning with the class of 2027, they are required to complete a personal finance course. We do offer a personal finance course as a half credit class. And then they also, business math, which is offered at the 12th grade level, can also count as the personal finance requirement. 0.5 credit for Keystone graduation pathways, and then 0.5 credit for career readiness plan, which is tied to Smart Futures. So the students at the lower grade levels are working in Smart Futures. Their plan that they work on when they get to high school is based off of the plan that they're working on currently in 8th grade. So it is important that students are completing those activities that are being required by the school counselors and your teachers, because it is built upon that once they get to the high school. The state has graduation requirements. They're called the graduation pathways. They're tied to the Keystone scores. So there's different pathways to meet those requirements for students who are not able to obtain Keystone proficiency or advance, or meet the composite score for the composite pathway. There are alternative ways to meet those pathways. We will also, in the email that I send out with all the documents, include an outline of what the alternative assessment is and the evidence-based pathway, so that you will have that information as your child enters high school, or this becomes something that we're going to be talking about with the students moving forward. This is our promotion and retention policy. So at the high school, you have to earn a certain amount of credits in order to be promoted onto each year. You'll know, if you remember, we said 7 credits. Each student is required to carry 7 credits, but as a 9th grader, you need 6 credits in order to be promoted onto a sophomore status, 12 credits to be a junior, 18 credits to be a senior. This is our course weighting scale. So courses are weighted based on the rigor of the course curriculum. And we have 3 different weight levels. So that means that whatever the grade is that the student earns in a weighted course, which is denoted by asterisks, that whatever number they see there, if it's 1 star, it's 1.05, 2 stars, 1.1, 3 stars, 1.2, and it's denoted next to the course title. So that grade gets multiplied by those points, and that is how their GPA is determined. Students who are taking dual enrollment classes, this is the course weighting system for dual enrollment courses. This is just a preview of what the screen looks like for all the students. And now we're just going to get into a little bit about the course offerings in each department. I want to preface this by saying that, and I do see that there are some students that have logged in, and we're happy to have you here. We want to make sure that students are picking classes that are appropriate for their academic ability and in line with their future goals are. So we always tell students when we're meeting with them, especially, that, you know, don't pick classes that your friends are picking. Pick the classes that that are going to be appropriate for you, mean the most for you, and are in line with what your future goals are. So as you can see, this is the English sequence. We have made some changes to some of the freshman courses. So you'll see under the freshman column there, Applied English 9, Module 1, and Applied English 9, Module 2 are broken. So this is originally just our Applied English 9 course. We have broken it down into 2 half-credit courses. And we did this with a couple other of our courses. We initially started with the science curriculum, and we broke that into 2 half-credit classes, and we found that to be very successful. And the reason we're doing that is we realize and recognize that 9th graders transitioning into the high school can be very challenging. And we want to have them have an opportunity to have a fresh start in the second part of their school year. So that's kind of the reasoning behind breaking those down into 2 half-credit courses. And we only did that with Applied English 9. The English 9 course, which is equivalent to a college prep course, is a full year class worth 1 credit. And then Honors World Literature, which is our weighted class and most challenging English course for 9th graders, is 1 credit as well. And then that kind of follows along for sophomores, juniors, and seniors. On the course reference sheets that we'll send out to you, you'll see initials LS and ES. LS stands for learning support and ES stands for emotional support. And those are for students who are working with a case manager. The case manager is also an important piece to this planning process. So if you do have a child that works with a case manager, please make sure that you're in contact with them, that you are reviewing the course offerings and what the plan is for next year with your case manager. Oh, I just want to go back and just point out the senior with the L-Tri-C courses. The L-Tri-C Research and Composition and Introduction to Literature, those are courses offered through dual enrollment, which we're going to talk about a little bit later on. But those count towards their 4th English credit if they take it. This is the math sequence, and under the freshman column, you can see that Algebra 1A has been broken down into 2 half-credit courses as well, so Module 1 and Module 2. Students, so 9th grade students who take Algebra 1A would be taking pre-algebra currently. So for 8th grade students who are taking pre-algebra, they will have the opportunity to take either Algebra 1A, Mod 1 and 2, or Algebra 1. Current 8th grade students who are in Algebra 1 have the option to take Algebra 2 or Honors Algebra 2. Okay, and then Algebra 1A is a 2-year Algebra 1 course. So this is this course offers more opportunity for reteaching, more opportunity for reassessments, and really stretches out that Algebra 1 so that students can gain a really good foundation of those Algebra 1 skills. So they take Algebra 1A in 9th grade, and then they would move into Algebra 1B in 10th grade. Okay. Something that we also see is students wanting to double up in math classes so they can get to the highest level math courses, and we definitely encourage students to do that. You want to consult with your current math teacher and make sure that you have the appropriate recommendations in place so that when you go to enter your course selections that you're able to select those courses. So on the course reference sheets, those are just guides. They're what typical students would take in each grade level. If you don't see something on there, that's okay. Come and talk to us, talk to your teacher, and in most cases, if it's appropriate for you, you'll be able to take that course. Oh, I do want to just point out, we do have some new courses. Trigonometry, we offered that this year as a full year class. We're breaking that down to a half-year class, and then the second part of that is going to be statistics and advanced math topics for 0.5 credit. Those courses are weighted with one asterisk. So that is a new addition for typically juniors and seniors would be taking that course. Social studies is pretty simple. All students in 9th grade take American History 1, 10th grade American History 2. In your junior and senior year, you have a lot more options. Students who do take the dual enrollment courses and will be taking Introduction to Psychology and Introduction to Sociology, we do count that as a social studies credit for them. Okay, and this is our science sequence. As I had mentioned earlier, the freshman classes was broken down into, I think this is our 2nd year doing it with the half-credit courses, and it seems to be working for our students. So it's broken down into fundamentals of life science and then fundamentals of physical science. And then in 10th grade, students will take biology. And then as juniors and seniors, you can see that there's a lot more opportunity to take different courses. This is just a slide that shows all of our electives. I just want to point out that we do have some new additions for next year. Under the Family Consumer Science course, we had in the past offered an Exploring Family Consumer Science. We're expanding those options to Foods 1, Foods 2, and a Sewing and Interior Design course, which we're very excited for the expansion of these offerings. There was a name change, a title change just to Graphic Design 1. We added Canva. and then graphic design 2 Photoshop, just so that you understand what will be taught in those classes. And then for art, we broke 2D art, drawing, painting, and print was just one class. We broke that into 2 different courses: 2D art, drawing, and print, and then 2D art, painting, and print. Okay. As I just want to go back to that side just for a moment. As freshmen, you'll see on the freshman course selection sheet that not all of these classes will appear, and that is because they haven't met the prerequisite yet as a 9th grader, and so not all of those courses will appear on that sheet. Because the other courses require those prerequisites that they could potentially meet.
I'm going to add something, so should I?
Go ahead.
Okay. So in regards to all of the courses, including the core classes that we discussed and the electives, they can all be found in our course description book, which will be available on the website, but which is also going to be emailed out after the presentation. And if you go to that course description book, there will be more detail about the course and what's being taught in the course and what it's all about. Mm-hmm. And in that, it also highlights what classes are weighted, which we talked about earlier in the presentation, and also which courses are NCAA approved courses for student athletes, and that will help, guide you in selecting the classes. I also want to go back to the student recommendation part of it. For all of the classes, the core classes, specifically for incoming 9th graders, now they should be talking to their current 8th grade teachers. Because in order for them to be able to select the classes, for them to be available to them when we go back to help them input their course request, their teachers need to have entered those recommendations for them. So when we talk about things like doubling up in math or taking an honors English class, those things will not be available to students to select unless their teachers have recommended them for that. So if you have questions or concerns about that, you can also be reaching out to their 8th grade teachers to discuss those types of questions as well.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more about LTRI-C. So LTRI-C stands for Lehigh Carbon Community College. That is our local county college. So they offer dual enrollment courses that are taught by LTRI-C professors that come into our building. So our traditional dual enrollment program is that students have to take these 4 courses as a block. It takes up 2 periods of their day. The courses are offered Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday, and then they have a double study period on Friday. So in the fall, the students will take research and composition and introduction to psychology. And then in the spring, they take introduction to literature and introduction to sociology. For high school credit, these courses equal 0.5, but for college, it equals 3 credits. The cost of the courses are $210 plus the cost of books. I want to just highlight that these courses are being offered already at a very reduced rate. Typically at LTRI-C, a one credit is equal to about $200, and they're having the opportunity to earn 3 credits at $210. So that's very exciting. I have introduction to our intermediate algebra and college algebra in there, but those and general biology, those courses are not being offered. So I'm sorry, that was not up. This slide must not have been updated. So students are required to select these courses when they are inputting their course selections each year. So their English teacher is going to have to recommend them for the English courses. There's not a recommendation needed for the psychology and sociology, but students will have to register for all 4 classes in order to have them for next year. Once we go through the course selection process and we have a list of the students that are interested in taking LTRI-C courses, we then contact them and give them all of the information on what the next steps are, because those students do have to submit an application to LTRI-C and complete a registration form through LTRI-C. So that process comes after the course selection window ends.
Yep.
Okay.
And it is important that that they follow all the steps and we guide them through that, because that is how we make sure that we know what classes students are taking and know to make sure to request those grades from LTRC so that they can be included in the student's transcript. So it's a very, step-by-step process that we guide students through.
And we do have students that are interested in taking online courses, and that is students are eligible to do that. The typical courses that we see students take are world geography, introduction to astronomy, human growth and development, which you have to have psychology before taking that, modern social problems. So those are some of the common classes. But if there's something that I didn't mention, we just want students to come and speak to us, ask us questions, and we have to be the ones that approve those courses. And not all of the LTRC course catalog will be available in our course selection process. So you're not going to see all of those classes. You'll only see the ones that I just talked about. So don't panic. Just reach out to us via email, stop down and see us, and we can help you get signed up for the classes that you're interested in taking. So for some classes, you may be required to do placement testing, but that will all be explained to you once we've gotten to that next step. We also offer Accelerated College Experience, which is the ACE program. Students, it's the same rate, the same credits, but students in this program will earn a general studies degree. So it is a degree-seeking program. Students who want to do this have to be entering into 11th grade next year, so only current 10th graders are eligible for this program because it is a 2-year program. Students who are in the ACE program take all of their courses through LTRC. So they don't come into the building to take classes here at the high school. All of their courses to meet our graduation requirements would be done through the dual enrollment program that they offer for our high school students. If you have more questions about that, we did send out information tonight about an information session that LTRC is hosting for next week, but you can also reach out to one of us and we'd be happy to go over what those requirements are, what that program is like. Okay. We also have the Carbon Career and Technical Institute is another opportunity for students at the high school. So students who are entering 10th grade now have the option to elect a half-time or full-time enrollment. This means that academic courses will be taken at Jim Thorpe and the technical areas at CCTI. We have very few students select this because we find that the students really want to be over at CCTI. Just so that they can benefit from all of the programs and the opportunities that CCTI has, because they do have such a comprehensive program. They have, different clubs or sometimes the same clubs that we have. Students who do go to CCTI are also eligible to participate in all of our sporting events. So that is something that they're still able to do. They do have different graduation requirements for students who go there full time. And then for students who do want half time, that would just be something we'd ask that you talk to us about so that we can work out what that would look like for you. The 9th grade program is a full-time only program, and this is for a very select amount of students. It's an exploratory program. The CCTI only accepts 5 students from each elementary building to partake in this program. And I believe that application process has already begun or started. And if you have questions about that, we just encourage you to reach out to your 8th grade school counselors. For the high school students who are interested in going next year, the applications were due on Monday for our students. So if your student has not submitted an application and they aren't interested, we do encourage you to do that as soon as possible. We can accept late applications, but they are time-stamped from us and they're time-stamped from CCTI. So students are required to complete that application, and usually around April or May is when they receive decision letters from CCTI. Just so everybody knows, we did have a CCTI joined us in the fall to present to all the 9th graders, and then we took all the 9th graders over for a tour. I believe the 8th graders went over for their tours, I think last week. And then at the high school, we do have students do shadow days. So that is something that our future 9th graders can look forward to again for next year. We do offer Olympian Learning Connection. This is we partner with Carbon Lehigh Intermediate Unit to provide the online curriculum for students who are interested in this program. Students who find the most success in this platform should be able to follow a set schedule. They should be self-motivated and have strong communication skills so that they are able to self-advocate for themselves when they are online. If you have a student that's interested in that, please let us know. On the same lines of OLC and CCTI, every student that is currently enrolled in school here as an 8th grader, 9th grader, 10th grader, and 11th grader will be required to complete course selections, no matter what their plans are for next year. So if there is a plan to move, if there is a plan to go online or to go to CCTI, we make sure that every student enters their course selections, because we know that sometimes plans change, and we want to be prepared for that and make sure that the students have the same opportunity to get into the classes that they want should those plans change. Okay, so we've come to the end of our presentation. We will open it up for questions in just a moment here. Okay, so right now I have everybody muted. I'm gonna unmute everybody, and then if you don't have a question, just please mute your mic on your own. If you do have a question, please raise your hand.
Why Miss Birchall figures, you're gonna have to mute.
I am.
Sorry, we're echoing. So why Miss Birchall works on unmuting everyone. I wanted to say that as students begin the scheduling process, especially in the 9th grade level, the courses that they're taking are designed to help meet the graduation requirements. And as they continue to move through the grades, they will have more flexibility, more room in their schedule to choose electives that are maybe more towards a career goal that they have or a strong interest that they have. But 9th grade is probably the most set that the schedule is. And as they continue to go through the grades, again, they have more room and more flexibility in their schedule. One of the things I also wanted to mention is that at Jim Thorpe Area High School, a graduation requirement is 1 year of a world language. We often do encourage our students to consider taking at least 2 years of a world language, because in our experience in working with working with colleges is that they are looking for 2 years of 2 consecutive years of the same world language. So at Jim Thorpe, we have all the way up to Spanish 5 and all the way up to Spanish 3, and we're hoping this year, I'm sorry, all the way up to Spanish 5 and all the way up to German 3, and hoping this year for German 4. So we do encourage students to take more than 1 year of a world language if it is something that aligns with their goals. And in regards to the personal finance, which is a new requirement for the class of 2027, I also wanted to mention that we encourage that to happen in junior year, but could happen in sophomore year, junior year, and senior year if it was something that could not fit in their junior year schedule. And I think that she is just working on unmuting everybody. So sorry about that.
So I don't know if anybody can try to unmute themselves and ask a question, but I did open the chat, so you could type it into the chat if you have a question. There's a question about students when can students begin taking dual enrollment courses? Typically students take the most amount of dual enrollment classes in their junior or senior year. We do sometimes have 10th graders taking dual enrollment courses. We encourage students to wait until their 10th grade year to take dual enrollment courses because of, the adjustment to the high school culture and curriculum. There's a question about, can electives become oversubscribed? I'm not sure if you mean overrode. Yeah.
I think
I am.
so. I think what you mean is like, can they become, filled up? And
yeah.
Yes, they can be. That's why we encourage you to select your first choice for electives, and then your alternates would be your backup choices. They can, depending how scheduling works is the number of sections of a class that we offer is based on the number of requests from students. So the student requests drive the course offerings for each school year.
Right. And generally, the seniors will have priority, and then juniors, sophomores, freshmen with course electives. What is the benefit of taking an honors class over a regular class? Honors courses are typically weighted, so you're getting more GPA points. So the more weighted classes you take, the higher your GPA can be. And if you're a student who's looking for a challenge or more rigorous class, then that would be the benefit of taking an honors class. Let me try to.
You can turn your microphones on now.
Yeah, I think I just figured that out. The CCTI does offer dual enrollment courses. So they would enroll through their process and procedures at CCTI. We do encourage students who are in 9th grade wait until their 10th grade year to begin taking dual enrollment courses. If you have a particular question or scenario or situation, we would encourage you to reach out to your school counselor. Our students who are taking dual enrollment courses are mostly in their junior and senior year, and I would say most of them are seniors.
Another thing, when we're meeting with students, I'm just going to mute. When we're meeting with students, one of the things that we go over with them is when you plan your courses for 1 year, you should be thinking about what you're going to do in the following years. So for example, when students are trying to weigh out, should I take 11th grade honors English versus AP English, or maybe dual enrollment classes? If a student decides to take those dual enrollment classes that we offer here at the high school in junior year, then they should be considering what classes they want to take as a senior here at the high school. So, comparable level of courses would be like a dual enrollment class with an AP class. So you always want to keep in mind when selecting things, what you're going to want to take in the following years after that class.
Yeah.
Because the classes that you take should continue, if we're speaking in terms of like college and things like that, you want to continue to challenge yourself each year. You don't want to be taking step back scenario. You want to keep matching that level or continuing to challenge yourself.
Where we see that really come into play is with the dual enrollment courses that we offer, the traditional dual enrollment courses with those block of 4 classes. We do have sometimes students who are juniors who want to take those courses, but the next highest level course would be AP English. So a student who is in currently a junior taking 11th grade honors world literature may go into their senior year taking the dual enrollment courses or AP English. But a 10th grader may want to go into doing those dual enrollment courses, but then as a senior we would expect them to take AP English.
Yeah.
Because we don't, that is the honors course at the 12th grade level, is AP English.
Right, there's no 12 honors. There's no 12 honors English. It's an AP course.
Dual enrollment courses are weighted.
Yeah.
I will go back to that slide. Okay. Are there any other questions? Okay. Okay. We're going to hang on for a couple more minutes to see if anybody has any follow-up questions. But if you do not have any questions, please feel free to log off. And again, we will follow up this presentation with an email to students and parents with the course booklet, the course reference guides, the graduation pathways.
And the current 8th grade families will probably get it from their school counselors.
Yeah, the 8th grades,
yes.
The 8th graders will get that information from their school counselors. I do see a question on here about waiting to sign up for electives. No, it's not. It's not a first come, first serve situation when it comes to electives. So we wait until all students have entered in their course selections to begin the schedule.
I have a quick question about band.
Yes, band.
So if they're in marching band, they have to sign up for band, correct?
I believe that is a requirement.
Okay.
And students, so that is a good thing to bring up. 8th grade students who want to take band or chorus, it's a full year class, so they would be exempt from taking that phys ed, which is a required course for all 9th graders. So that's just one thing to keep in mind.
And then they would have to make that up is ed credit in the next
3 years.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in future years, they would have to fit the physical ed. So band only does a substitute in freshman year.
Right. That's right. They would still then need to continue to fit in all of the requirements by their senior year.
But, band is counting. It's counting as an elective. So
Yeah.
you need 3.5 electives to graduate. So just to kind of re-explain that, you're not getting the phys ed credit in 9th grade, but you're getting a full credit of an elective. So that's kind of how it works out, that there's enough room for that to happen by the time a student would graduate.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's my question then, because he's in Algebra 1 this year in 8th grade.
Mm-hmm.
So I went over to it says if you take Algebra 2 or Honors Algebra 2, to take 1 credit, so should he still sign up for the Computer Science Essentials then?
Yeah, he'll still have to take Computer Science Essentials. He just won't have to take the phys ed.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Now, when he goes to do that with us in a couple weeks, we have to override that, but it's something that we do right on the spot.
So if he's in band, does he have to come up with at least 2 alternative electives?
Yes. Just, the system won't allow you to submit it without it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, we are going to end this call. If you do have questions and you weren't able to answer them tonight, please feel free to reach out to us or the 8th grade school counselors at LB or Penn Kidder. Thank you again for joining us tonight. We hope you have a nice rest of your night. Thank you so much.